This spider is smaller than a pea. Its entire brain is the size of a single poppy seed. By every rule we have, it should be barely aware. Yet it hunts like a cat and plans its next move. And at night, it may lie in its web and dream. Here on WildPlanetTV, the familiar stops being what it seems, so subscribe. You have walked past this creature 1,000 times unaware. You never guessed one of Earth's sharpest minds was watching back. This is the jumping spider, and it should not be this clever. Let us start with just how impossibly small we are really talking. Jumping spiders are tiny, fuzzy hunters with short, sturdy legs. There are around 6,000 species of them worldwide. That is out of roughly 50,000 spider species in total. They live on every continent on Earth except frozen Antarctica. And within that single family, the variety is genuinely astonishing. Some are drab and brown and vanish completely against rough tree bark. Others blaze with colors so vivid they look almost painted. A few cleverly disguise themselves as ants or even scorpions. The largest, fittingly named the giant, reaches about 1 inch. That's roughly 2.5 centimeters of spider. The smallest is a species barely 1.5 millimeters long. Its brain would be almost too small for us to see. Because that's the real shock hiding inside this animal. Pack a few 100,000 neurons into under a millimeter.
And that is quite literally the entire brain of a jumping spider. For comparison, a single mouse brain holds 70 million neurons. The spider runs on a rounding error of that number. And yet scientists now rank it among the very cleverest invertebrates alive. The people who keep them as pets already knew this. They describe big personalities packed into these tiny, curious bodies, a level of awareness you simply never expect this small. So how does a poppy seed brain manage all of that? To see it, we begin where the spider is deadliest. Forget the image of a spider waiting in a web. The jumping spider does not trap its prey in silk. It is an active ambush hunter, and it patiently stalks its prey. When it spots a fly, it freezes completely in place. Its large eyes lock onto the target and never leave. Then, slowly, it begins to creep, lowering its whole body. It edges closer, patient, deliberate, waiting for the perfect instant. If this feels familiar, it is because a cat does this. The very same freeze, the same slow stalk, the same coiled patience. Then, at the right moment, the spider launches into the air. But the leap itself works nothing like a cat's muscles. The jump is powered mainly by the rear pair of legs, and it is driven by hydraulic pressure, not muscle strength. The spider floods those legs with fluid to extend them explosively. Its front legs stay stretched forward through the entire leap. They are the first to touch and seize the prey. They grab, pin, and steady the struggling target on landing. And almost at the instant, it delivers a venomous bite. A whole cat-like hunt compressed into a fraction of a second. But the most astonishing part is not the leap itself. It is what the spider works out before it ever jumps. Because these tiny hunters do not simply fling themselves and hope. In some cases, the spider does not aim where prey is. Instead, it aims for where the prey is just about to be. It leaps to an intercept point, snatching it from midair. To do that, it must calculate the jump in advance. In a study from 2018, researchers proved exactly this. They filmed a regal jumping spider with high-speed cameras. Each leap crossed a gap of different distance and height. The spider changed its takeoff angle to match every gap. For a short, quick hop, it used a low, flat angle. That choice keeps its flight time as brief as possible. For a longer jump, it launched at a much steeper angle. That steeper path saves precious energy across the longer distance. And the farther the target, the steeper that launch became. This is not random leaping at all. It is deliberate calculation. And the raw distances these little spiders can cover are genuinely absurd. One tiny male, about 6 millimeters long, was carefully measured. It jumped 23 centimeters, some 38 times its own length, and it did so from a complete motionless standing start.
No run-up, no momentum, just one single explosive, calculated launch. Watch closely and you will see a thin thread trailing behind. That is its drag line, a safety rope of silk. Scientists think it may even steer the spider in midair. By tugging that silken line, it can adjust its rotation, a living tightrope correcting its own path as it flies. And that silk turns out to be extraordinary in its own right. For years, one spider held the record for toughest silk. That record belonged to Darwin's bark spider, the true master builder. It spins some of the largest webs found anywhere on Earth. A few of its webs have spanned rivers over 20 meters wide. Its silk was long thought unbeatable among all natural materials on Earth. Then, a careful study in 2021 changed that whole story. The silk of the zebra jumping spider rivaled that record. It matched the bark spider and beat almost every other. But here is the single part that truly defies all belief. The jumping spider spins its silk dozens of times faster. Normally, rushing production leaves molecules tangled, weak, and flawed. This spider somehow keeps them perfectly ordered at high speed. It breaks a basic rule of how materials should behave. None of this hunting would work without one crucial gift. The jumping spider has, for its tiny size, truly incredible eyes. It carries 4 pairs of eyes arranged around its head. Together, they give it a nearly complete field of view. Almost nothing can approach it without being noticed almost at once. But 2 of those eyes are unlike any others in nature. The 2 big front eyes are its high-resolution telephoto lenses. Behind each lens sits a long, layered, tube-shaped retina. And astonishingly, that retina can physically move and scan around. The spider sweeps its gaze without ever turning its head. It scans a target the way you might study a photograph. These eyes deliver the sharpest vision of any animal its size. They rival the acuity of creatures thousands of times larger. And the spider sees the world in rich, vivid color. Many species can even detect ultraviolet light we cannot see. Some males wear ultraviolet patches that glow to a female's eyes. So the spider is not simply reacting to vague, distant movement. It is truly seeing, recognizing shapes, colors, and fine detail. This is why it can judge a leap so precisely, and why it seems to look right back at you. When those eyes fix on you, something feels different. There is a sense of attention behind them, of presence. It is the reason people fall so completely for these spiders. If those little faces got you, comment the word eyes. But sharp eyes alone do not explain this animal's mind. Jumping spiders can genuinely learn, and they learn remarkably fast. In careful tests, they outpace far larger animals, even clever pigeons. You can teach them to avoid a certain color of prey, and that lesson can stick with them for about 2 weeks.
They are quietly updating a mental model of their world. Some can even recognize other spiders as separate, distinct individuals, a rival, a mate, or simply a familiar neighbor nearby. But one group of jumping spiders takes this even further. These are the Portia spiders, and they hunt other spiders. They invade the webs of larger, more dangerous species. There, they pluck the silk to imitate a trapped insect. The web's owner rushes out, expecting an easy meal. Instead, it meets a hunter that was baiting it all along. And Portia does something almost no invertebrate is thought to do. It plans a route to its prey before it moves. It will take a long detour that leads out of sight. The target vanishes completely behind leaves and branches. Yet the spider keeps a mental map of where it was. It climbs a winding path, sometimes even away from the prey, all to arrive at the perfect ambush point from above. It holds the goal in mind long after seeing it. That is planning, in a brain smaller than a seed. It is the kind of foresight we expect from mammals, yet here it is, running inside a speck of a hunter, and the spider's talents are not limited to killing. Some jumping spiders are also astonishing, breathtaking little performers. The most famous of all are the peacock spiders. These peacock spiders are almost impossibly small, just millimeters across. The males carry a secret hidden flap of brilliant, glowing color. It stays tightly folded like a closed fan against the body. When a female appears nearby, the male at once begins to dance. He raises the flap, unfurling a dazzling painted shield. Then he lifts a leg and waves it in rhythm. He vibrates, steps, and poses in a precise, well-practiced routine. Each species performs its own distinct choreography and pattern. It is one of the most elaborate courtship displays known, and the tiny watching female is the sole demanding judge. If the dance impresses her, the pair will come together. If it fails to impress her, she simply turns and walks away. So the male must perform flawlessly or lose everything. All of this unfolds on a stage the size of a coin, a ballet of color, staged by a mind we underestimate. And that mind may hold the strangest secret of all.
because it now truly seems that jumping spiders really may dream. For a long time, we thought dreaming belonged to vertebrates, to animals with large, complex brains like mammals and birds. Certainly not to a spider the size of a grain. In us, deep dreaming happens during a phase called REM. In that phase, our eyes dart and our muscles twitch. In 2022, scientists filmed jumping spiders as they slept. They chose young spiders whose outer shell is still clear. Through that transparent skin, the moving retinas were visible inside. And as the spider slept, those retinas twitched in bursts. The bursts were rhythmic, spaced, and grew longer through the night. At the very same time, the spider's legs curled and twitched.
It looked remarkably like the REM sleep we know in ourselves. This is the first strong sign of such sleep in invertebrates. And in us, REM sleep is where memory is rebuilt. It is where the brain sorts, files, and links the day. One idea is that dreams let us rehearse the world safely. You can test how to fall without ever leaving your bed. Perhaps the spider replays the hunts and leaps of its day. Perhaps it is refining its aim while its body rests. We may never truly know what, if anything, it sees, but something in that tiny mind seems to need the night. If that gave you chills, share this with someone now. A hunter this small should not have an inner life, and yet everything about it whispers that it might. So, what, in the end, is the jumping spider for? It is proof that a mind needs no great size. It hunts like a cat and calculates like an engineer. It spins record-breaking silk faster than physics should allow. It sees, learns, plans, and may even dream at night. All of it inside a brain the size of a seed. The next time one turns its little face towards you, stop. You are being watched by one of Earth's smallest geniuses. Not a pest to flick away, but a tiny thinking marvel. And if a mind can hide in something this small, imagine what a creature with no brain at all can do. Our next animal has no brain and no eyes whatsoever. Next time, the tick, a patient parasite that hunts without either. If this changed how you see jumping spiders, subscribe and stay wild.